What is up, everybody? The Unlocked Farmer is back and back in business. I know it's been a long time since I made a video, it seems like, and I apologize for that. And I've been promising a pepper grow guide, and I've kind of failed you guys in a way. And I apologize. There's a lot of shit going on in my life right now, and a lot of personal stuff here at the home, and I've been dealing with that, and I just haven't been in the mood to focus on making videos or even touching social media. It's just not what I want to focus on, you know? Like, I gotta fix things here first. Can't do that if I'm doing all this other stuff, okay? So I had to take a break from it, but I'm back, and without further ado, I'm gonna get into this long-awaited grow guide, complete grow guide. I'm gonna cover all my bases with peppers. Everything that you need to know about peppers will be in this grow guide. Most of it, hopefully. If there's anything that I missed, let me know in the comments. If you know anything that maybe I forgot to include. So, without further ado, here you see I have my habanero peppers. And I got them growing in this container. I prefer personally to grow in containers because most people don't grow a whole lot of pepper plants. And most people don't have giant gardens. And if you're starting off, growing in containers it's nice. It's nice for peppers. Not every plant is great in a container, but pepper plants do perfectly fine in containers. My main reason for growing in them, not just because you can move them around just in case there's maybe a storm blowing through and you want to save them, because these branches can break, and when they do, if you break a main branch, it'll take forever to come back. But the main reason I use them is because I can dial in that loose, nice, rich soil full of nutrients, full of compost, full of peat moss, maybe sand even, and that's what I like to do. Now I got peppers right over here that you can't see in the video because they're in the bigger section of the garden. I'm in my mounds that I have growing in the ground, and they're growing just fine because I did the same exact method, but in the ground. Obviously they're not directly in the ground, pretty much like a garden bed, but I do mounds. So if you have a garden bed, it'll work just like a container, but you don't have the benefit of obviously moving it around, and you got to put a lot more soil in a whole garden bed. But if you just want to grow some peppers, maybe you just want to grow peppers, then I would highly suggest growing them in a container, because you're only going to grow a handful of plants. Not many people are growing fields and rows of peppers unless you're doing something commercially. No one really needs that many peppers because they produce more than you'll ever know. 4 plants right here. I mean, I just can't get enough of these habaneros. They just go, 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 go. And they have been for the past 3 years. I've been growing them. So, grow them in containers. Now, the first thing is, you might be wondering, should I get a transplant from a greenhouse, or should I just grow them from seed? Well, you can grow them from seed, and if you do, it'll take about 7 to 21 days for those seeds to germinate, and you want to plant them to about 1/4 to 1/2 inch deep. And the thing with seeds, though, is unless you have a really warm climate that's pretty much warm all year round, if you grow them from seed, they're going to take peppers take a long time to get started and to like really grow. Once they like get to a certain point, you'll see them start to grow faster and faster, but at the beginning it takes forever for them to get up to a good size to, you know, put peppers on the branches, you know. So growing from seed for the most part is a bad idea, because I've already tried it. Trust me, I tried it. I germinated some seeds probably mid-May and put them out. No, I think I actually put them in the ground. I'm not sure. I may have germinated them. I may have put them in the ground. I had to look back. All my videos are on Instagram for the last season. But yeah, I put them in the ground at the end of May, and by the time it was October and the first frost came, they were just putting out flowers, and the nub of the pepper was just sticking out, but you can't, it's like so tiny. It was pointless. Yeah, they just died, and they weren't even that strong of plants anyways, because I really don't know what happened with that. But yeah, growing from seed, not a good idea. Starting them indoors, if you got the setup, definitely would recommend doing it. If you have a greenhouse, whatever, do it at your house. But if you don't, go to your local nursery and pick up some pepper seeds, or pepper starts, and then you just transplant them out in a container or your garden bed or wherever. Now, when you do put them in the ground, you want to space them out at the bare minimum of a foot. I wouldn't go any closer than that because they're going to branch out, and you want to have a decent amount of space for these peppers to take up. You don't want crammed peppers, because I'm telling you what, there will be low airflow. You're going to be prone to disease, because there are apparently diseases. I haven't had to deal with any yet because I never made those mistakes. But also, you're going to have a tough time harvesting peppers because you're going to have to peel back all these branches. They're really hard to see because they kind of hide in with the leaves. And you're going to break something. Trust me, I've broken a lot of branches, and it's not fun because they take forever to regenerate, like I said. So, also something about the soil, if you're wondering about pH, because I just wanted to cover it, you really don't need to worry about pH when it comes to peppers if you have decent soil, okay? If you have very acidic soil, if you know you have acidic soil, if you know you have very alkaline soil, then you might want to do something about it, but they'd like a baseline 7, maybe a 6.5 at the lowest, or, you know, a 0.5 in both categories, like 7.5 or 6.5. I wouldn't go any more than a 0.5 difference, okay? And also, like I said, just to continue on with the how long it takes for a pepper to grow, I wouldn't grow this anywhere under zone 4. I mean, you can, but you got to start them inside or start them somehow. Really, you got to get a good matured sized pepper to last you the season, because they take a long time to get to size, because you want them to have a good size before they start putting up peppers. They might start putting up peppers really early, and oftentimes they do, which I will tell you what, you're going to want to pick off any kind of pepper that comes out early. Pick them off. If the pepper plant is not very big, if it's down here, half the size of this one right here, don't do it. Don't have peppers growing on there, because you're just going to have a tiny plant. It's going to put all its energy in those peppers, and you'll have like no yield at all. So pick them off. I just pick off the flowers as I see them before they even turn into peppers. So I'll just give you that tip right there. But yeah, they take a long time to get to size, okay? They take about, to get to a good size to where you want to have fruit-bearing pepper plants, it's going to be around 60 at the least at the low end, and then 60 to 90. And then when those those peppers start to come up, you're going to want to wait another whole month at the very least for those to even ripen to be picked. Now, I will say this, you can pick peppers at any point of the game. You can pick a pepper right now. I can pick all these peppers right now, and they'll be just fine. But ripe peppers, you're going to have that flavor. They're going to have the seeds that are viable, and they're just going to be a whole lot better. Not every pepper you want ripe, obviously. Like pepperoncinis, I don't know if they are used ripe. They probably are, but I can't see why they wouldn't. But most people pick pepperoncinis when they're not ripe, or maybe even bell peppers. People pick those because a lot of people think green bell peppers are a different pepper. Actually, it's the same pepper, but it's not ripe. And red peppers are the same pepper, but ripe. Because when they're ripe, you'll know they're ripe because they'll turn into a different color, such as yellow, orange, brown, sandy, black, even, I think, maybe, I don't know, purple, all those shades of colors. But yeah, that's when you know they're ripe. But that takes at the very minimum 30 days. So pepper plants, they take a long time to get going. So you gotta have that time. So that's why I like to just get them from the nursery. And I don't really have the setup here to start growing indoors. So I get them from the nursery, and they're not that expensive. They're going up in price, but definitely do that, because you're not gonna want any more than, I don't know, 8 plants. But you know, everyone's different. So whatever you need, you get, okay? But get it from the nursery or whatever. So now, disease, pests, I really don't worry too much about disease or pests. Apparently there are disease and pests, but for the past 3 years, really haven't worried about it because I've never really seen anything at all. There might be a few, like there right here, there's a hole in the plant, yeah, but I wouldn't worry about it unless your plant looks really bad. Like, I've never seen any disease on my pepper plants. I've seen like yellowing, like right here, but that is a nitrogen deficiency because I never fertilized it like mid-season, and it's now catching up with me. But it's the end of the season anyway. It's probably about 2 weeks out before these are about to go, so I made it pretty well. But yeah, I've never really seen disease take hold of my my plants. Maybe it's just my area, I don't really know. But apparently there are disease, so blossom end rot, that will affect the fruit. I think that's actually more of a deficiency in nutrients, where, and I believe that's calcium. Don't quote me, I'll put it on the screen if I get it wrong. But I believe it is calcium deficiency that causes blossom end rot. And you'll just see the end of the pepper start, you know, turning bad, turning brown. It's gonna rot up towards the stem of the pepper. That's why it's called blossom end rot. I haven't actually seen that on mine, but you know, it does happen. Leaf spot, blight, and powdery mildew. Believe it or not, I did not know that pepper plants, because I researched it because I never seen any diseases on my plants, so I didn't know. But pepper plants can get powdery mildew apparently. I've never seen it. I would like to see it because that's kind of weird. But you know, because I have powdery mildew all in the garden right now. It's in my squash, it's on my watermelons, the last remaining one that's there. It's on my cucumbers. So powdery mildew is a huge problem, but it hasn't affected my pepper plants, not one bit. So that's for the diseases, but pests, I haven't seen any of those on mine either. But apparently there can be aphids, thrips, if I'm saying that correctly, flea beetles, spider mites, and there was a few others, but I never even heard of them, so I'm not seeing anything on here. I don't know. For years, I've not seen anything on my pepper plants, so take that with what you will. But that's it for disease and pests. Not much you need to worry about with peppers. They're pretty rigid, sturdy plant. But like I said, pick up the peppers early. That's just one of the tips I want you to know, because that is a key thing, because they often do put out peppers early and you want to do that. Otherwise, you're going to have a very stunted plant. Now, one thing I also want to take a note of is towards the end of the season, sometimes you might have like some cold shocks come through, like just recently, and it's kind of cool right now, honestly, it's in the 60s. Just recently it dropped down from 90 degrees to 50, and those cold shocks might actually turn, some of the pepper skin will react to that cold and actually turn black. So if you ever see that, because when I first saw it, I freaked out. I was like, what is going on with my pepper plants? But yeah, it's just from the cold, so your peppers are actually still good to go. Now, if they're mushy, I wouldn't eat them, but for the most part, if you see it on your pepper, you're just fine. It's just fine to cook with, eat, no matter what. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it for this grow guide. I just want to see in my notes here if I'm missing anything, because I don't want to miss anything. This is a complete grow guide here. But yeah, I think that is it. So I'll see you guys in the next video, which should be coming up shortly. Probably a garden update, because I haven't done one in forever. And yeah, there's a lot of interesting things going on in the garden right now, heading towards the end of the season here. So, but that's it, guys. So I'll see you on the next one, and peace out. Alright, the one thing that I did leave out of this video is the seed saving component. I did say that when the peppers do change colors, the seeds are viable, which is true. But the caveat is if you grow multiple peppers, like let's say if you grow habaneros with jalapenos next to it, or anywhere in the vicinity, you may have a hybrid of that pepper, of those two peppers, because they do cross-pollinate. So the seeds that you save from any of those pepper plants may have hybrid genetics from cross-pollination. If you have a pure garden bed with no other pepper plants around the area, well, in the local vicinity of your garden, then you're not going to have a problem. You will have the exact same pepper from that seed that you do salvage out of it.